Siblings. I'm your host, Araceli, and this is my co-host, Armando.
Hi guys, I'm Armando and welcome to Wrestling with Siblings.
Alright, let's get started with Clash of Champions. The first match of the night is Seth Rollins and Braun Strowman versus Robert Roode and Dolph Ziggler for the Raw Tag Team Championships.
Very interesting tag team between Robert Roode and Dolph Ziggler, like we've been saying. It was kind of just thrown in there in the mix to see how it worked. Kind of reminds me of Sheamus and Cesaro. How they were like, you know what, this is not going to work. But so far, it's been playing out pretty good.
Yes, I 100% agree with you on that one. And I also feel like Seth Rollins and Braun Strowman was another team that was just kind of thrown into the mix. And it was just like, whatever happens, happens. And they ended up becoming tag team champions. And now you're in a situation where both teams can walk out of Clash of Champions.
Yeah, but let's be honest, and if you really analyze the match going into it, I believe that Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode had the advantage. Why? Because they were waiting for that moment between Seth Rollins and Braun Strowman to make a mistake or to pretty much betray each other. And sure enough, what ended up happening throughout the match, Braun Strowman accidentally pushes Seth Rollins, and that makes Robert Roode come up with the glorious DDT and end up winning the Raw Tag Team Championships.
Yeah, but you also have to see it from a perspective of Braun and Seth. You know, they're going into this match knowing, yes, we are going to face each other later on, but they both want to keep each other as fresh as they possibly can. They have a huge target in their back, not once, but twice. Because Braun goes into this match, let's say he gets brutally damaged or brutally hurt into this match, going into his match with Seth, Seth already has an advantage. Same thing with Seth. If he goes in, he gets hurt, something happens, that's obviously something Braun Strowman is going to capitalize on going into their match. So from the get-go, they were always at the disadvantage.
But one thing that they do pretty good, and they've been doing so good, is that Braun Strowman and Seth Rollins seem to be working together very well. And we saw that throughout this match up to a certain point. Yeah, it was a mistake and mistakes happen. But, you know, Robert Roode and Dolph Ziggler were able to capitalize on that.
I think definitely the smartest team was definitely Robert Roode and Dolph Ziggler, and therefore they walked out of Clash of Champions Tag Team Champions. And this is interesting because this is the first title change that happened of the night. So very interesting. Let's see what other champions are losing their championships and who we are crowning as new champions. Moving on to the very next match of the night, which was a women's match. Charlotte Flair versus Bayley for the WWE SmackDown Women's Championship. Very, very interesting. Going into this match, I think Charlotte and Bayley's heads weren't where they were really supposed to be. I think Charlotte was focused on other stuff and gaining, obviously, the championship. But Bayley's also thinking about Sasha. And you know how close they are. And I think at this point they were both at a disadvantage. But this match wasn't even 5 minutes long. It really wasn't. It was probably less than 5. It was probably like 4.5 or something.
I have to agree with you on the part with Bayley. Now going in focused, I think she was too concerned about Sasha, which it makes sense because they're best friends and what's going on with Sasha right now, where she's feuding with Becky Lynch and she was going to have her match. I was expecting Sasha to come out and get some type of involvement in that Charlotte match with Bayley, but that didn't happen, and kind of see how Bayley was going to act around Charlotte after all the attacks she's been.
And I think going into this match, Bayley knew she was at a disadvantage. She knew who she was up against, and nothing against Bayley, and I firmly believe she thought she could beat her, but she knew that there was no way in her state of mind she was going to be able to beat Charlotte Flair, because Bayley knew she wasn't 100%. So what does she do? She pulls a page out of Ric Flair's trick book. And so what she does is she takes off the bottom turnbuckle from the corner. She pretty much trips Charlotte. Charlotte falls into the turnbuckle, and she was able to pin her, and she beat her.
She pretty much stole the victory from Charlotte. Again, using dirty tactics. That's what we said. Ric Flair's.
Yes, and so she grabs the championship. She runs out with the championship like there's no tomorrow, because she's just like, okay, this is it. I won the championship. I don't have to defend it anymore. I am booking it. And I just think it was hilarious. A lot of people, from what I was seeing online, didn't like the ending. I liked it, though, because it's really going to develop Bayley's character as a heel and as who they're trying to really book her up against. If she wants to really be with Sasha and be a partner with Sasha Banks, I think she has to do some of the heel stuff. And I think this is great for her development moving forward.
This is a new Bayley. I think at this point she's willing to do whatever it takes to retain the title, and she proved that against Charlotte at Clash of Champions.
And hey, maybe, who knows, she'll pay for it, because someone like the Queen does not like to be under those circumstances. So I can guarantee you Bayley's going to pay for it later on the road. Alright, let's move on to the Revival versus the New Day for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. Right away, going into this match, the Revival had the biggest advantage. Why? The New Day has been injured for like the last month or so, for the last couple of weeks. That's why we haven't seen them on TV. That immediately puts them at a disadvantage. I mean, you pretty much knew, really analyzing this match, who was going to walk out champions.
The Revival, throughout these past couple of weeks, months, if you want to say, they've been doing a pretty good job in getting into the New Day's head, and that's something that nobody has been able to do up until now. The Revival, alongside with Randy Orton, which we'll get into later, they've done a fantastic job. They knew that if they could beat the Revival, the Revival knew that if they could beat the New Day, they had to get in their heads, and they started doing that slowly. And what do? They started targeting each and every single one of the New Day members.
Weak points. That's basically what they started to do, and that obviously helped them. They went in with the strategy, and you gotta give props to the Revival, because ever since the Usos have been gone, this is a team that really stepped up on both divisions, not only Raw, but also on SmackDown. They stepped up, and you were like, you know what, this is the opportunity for us to really become the top guys, and they really took the ball and ran with it. They've really proven themselves, and I'm glad that the Revival walked out Clash of Champions with the SmackDown Tag Team Championships, because I think they could do great things with that.
And they also did a good job on keeping Xavier Woods isolated from his corner and targeting that knee throughout the entire match. They, as you guys know, they injured the knee a couple weeks ago, and they continued that throughout the entire match, and they were able to outsmart him, and they are victorious. So now that's kind of odd, because as we know, the Revival is on Raw, and now they're the SmackDown Tag Team Champions.
Yeah, but with all the draft and the wild card rule, at this point there really is nobody on each roster, so it is kind of odd, but at the same time it's not surprising, because it's like, okay, well, now you're going to have a draft, and you had the wild card rule, so it makes perfect sense. And what other team really was going to beat the New Day for it? Nobody else was going to be honest.
So what that most likely means is that the Revival could potentially be in SmackDown in the next draft, which is going to be in a couple weeks.
Potentially? Or is going to be part of SmackDown? Because who's going to take the championship from the Revival? There's no team that really can take out this team. Like I said before, they stepped up, and now they really have the throne of the tag team division on both Raw and SmackDown. Alright, moving on to Fire and Desire versus Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross for the tag team championships. One thing before we get into this match, I think Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross really need a team name. I really do think that they need a name, but I don't know. I haven't thought of one yet, so I'll get back to you guys on that one. But now, moving into the match, Armando.
Yeah, Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose finally getting their opportunity at the Women's Tag Team Champions, and knowing them, they were not going to let this opportunity slip from their hands.
Oh, definitely not. And we've said it countless and countless amounts of times on the podcast. Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose have been the breakout stars of this year. 100%. And nobody can take that from them. And Mandy Rose has been super impressive over the last year. It's pretty much almost been a year. Same thing with Sonya Deville. And at this point, I think the hardest competition Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross were going to have was really this team, because they really are a team. They're solidified as a sisterhood, pretty much, if you put it that way.
And you could tell that Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross keep getting better and better as a tag team, as they keep on having tag team matches. And a perfect example is this match. They keep on working together so well. But Nikki Cross, very impressive. So far, if I'm not mistaken, she has gotten the pinfall in all of their wins.
Which is brilliant because now that makes Nikki Cross a legit competitor, and I think putting her with Alexa Bliss, you couldn't have put her with anybody else better. I think that really has helped Nikki Cross grow, and it's given her that confidence inside of the ring, and I think Alexa letting her get the wins and letting her get the victories is great, and it also benefits Alexa because Alexa just sits back, lets Nikki do all the work, and she's just there to mentor her and mold her into what she wants her to be.
Yeah, Alexa does all the thinking throughout the match. She's the one that distracts the ref. She is the one that gets in the opponent's head, and obviously Nikki Cross, like you said, is the one that comes in for the kill.
Exactly. And Fire and Desire, we really do think this team eventually, sooner or later, is going to become tag team champions. And once they hold those tag team championships, there's nobody else other than the Kabuki Warriors that will be able to defeat them. But we'll see going forward what WWE decides to do with this team, and I really do think Fire and Desire are money for the women's division.
Yeah, I think it's, like you said, a matter of time. I think they're gonna, if anything, for me, I would like for them to win it at WrestleMania, for them to have their moment. Like you said, they've had an incredible year, and what better way to end it than to win it at WrestleMania.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. Alright, moving on to The Miz versus Shinsuke Nakamura for the Intercontinental Championship. We do know Miz wanted his championship back, and therefore he put the challenge against Shinsuke Nakamura. And going into this match, I mean, we knew it was going to be a pretty much even fight. Shinsuke Nakamura came with a plan. And what was that plan? Sami Zayn. Because Sami Zayn was outside talking, trying to get into the Miz's head, trying to cause a distraction for the Miz. And I think Miz wasn't ready for it.
And this storyline kind of reminds me a little bit of Bobby Lashley and
Lio Rush.
I'm sorry. Yeah, it kind of reminds you of him because Lio Rush would be outside in the ring talking while Bobby Lashley was wrestling. So it's kind of similar to that. But I think Shinsuke Nakamura and Sami Zayn together is great. I think Sami Zayn has motivated Shinsuke Nakamura to do even better.
Yes, and I think The Miz has really elevated himself as a competitor over the last couple of years. And, he's been having some of the greatest matches. No matter who you put him with, he definitely delivers, and I think he's really grown as a competitor. And his match against Shinsuke was amazing. I thought, wow, if we could have these type of matches week after week after week, it would be absolutely incredible. But The Miz had it won, and none other than Sami Zayn decides to distract the ref, and Shinsuke Nakamura took advantage of that, hit him with the Kinshasa, and he was able to defeat him and retain his Intercontinental Championship.
Obviously, at some point, Sami Zayn was going to play a huge factor in this match, and he sure did. But at the end of the day, it benefits Shinsuke Nakamura. He's going to walk in with more confidence to any of the matches that he has, knowing that he has Sami Zayn in his corner.
Yes, and give The Miz a championship. Give him the Universal or WWE Championship. I think at this point is really long overdue. I think he really deserves it. I think he has the in-ring skills, the mic skills, and he definitely has the personality and the presence to be a WWE champion. And I think he'd be great.
I think this feud with Shinsuke Nakamura and The Miz is not over yet. I do see it going for quite some time, and maybe The Miz will end up beating Shinsuke Nakamura for the Intercontinental Championship.
Yep. Alright, moving on to Sasha Banks versus Becky Lynch for the Raw Women's Championship. Probably the most anticipated match of the night. Everybody was looking forward to this. Super excited, and let me tell you, this was probably the show stealer match of the night.
Yeah, the build-up towards this match was huge. Like you said, everybody was expecting it, but I wanted to see these two women collide, and we finally got to see it.
Yes, definitely a brutal match. I think Becky Lynch really did her homework on Sasha Banks, who she is as a competitor outside of the ring, and I think she was really able to outsmart Sasha Banks in the ring. I won't say out wrestle, but I will say she was really able to outsmart her. She definitely did her homework, and she analyzed every single piece of Sasha Banks.
And I think Sasha Banks took Becky Lynch to her limit. Yeah, other superstars have given the fight to Becky, but I think Sasha Banks is the one that took her that that extra level that pushed her even more.
Yeah, she definitely did push her to a level we haven't seen Becky be pushed to. And I think that's something that was getting on the nerves of Becky Lynch as well, because she was like, how am I going to take down Sasha Banks? And to be honest, the only way she was going to do it is to make Sasha tap out. That's the only way she was going to beat her, and that's also the only way Sasha Banks was going to be able to defeat Becky Lynch. And I don't think they quite figured that out. I think that was originally Sasha's plan, because we did see her trying to do that. But she just couldn't pull it on Becky Lynch.
Yeah, throughout the match, we saw that these women started to get frustrated the deeper the match went. And I think at the end of the day that it's going to end up playing a huge role if they end up facing each other again. Because I don't think this feud is over.
It definitely isn't, especially with the ending that this match had. Sasha gets frustrated. We knew this was going to happen, whether it was Becky Lynch or Sasha Banks. One of them got frustrated, and it happened to be Sasha Banks. She comes out of the ring. She grabs a chair. She takes it in, and what does Becky Lynch do? She hits the ref. Now there's no official, so that's when all hell breaks loose. They start going after each other in the crowd. They go backstage to the concession stands. They come all the way back, and at this point, they're all beating each other, and at this point, it's all Becky Lynch as well. You know what I'm saying? And that's something we really weren't expecting, and I think that is what made this match even better. And because of that, Becky got disqualified, which means Sasha Banks technically beat Becky Lynch. She technically won the match, but she did not win the championship.
Yeah, due to champion's advantage.
Exactly.
That's why she didn't win. But overall, it was a great match. I think it was one of the best matches of the night, if not, in our opinion, the best match of the night. I think the women really took it to the next level, and yeah.
We can definitely expect a second version of this match. I mean, we do know the next pay-per-view is Hell in a Cell, so that's probably what's going to be the next match, per se. I really do have to give props to both these women, though. They both put their bodies on the line. They both gave us an amazing match, and I can't wait for the next one. And I'm not going to lie, I thought Sasha Banks was going to walk out Clash of Champions, the new Raw Women's Champion, but it looks like that won't be happening, so we'll have to wait to see when Sasha Banks can dethrone Becky Lynch.
If anybody can dethrone Becky Lynch, I think it's going to be Sasha, but we have to wait and see if there's going to be a match at Hell in a Cell or later on down the road. But we're yet to see what's going to happen.
100%. Alright, moving on to Randy Orton versus Kofi Kingston for the WWE Championship. So much build-up as well. This has been years and years and years in the making. Randy Orton calling Kofi stupid week after week after week after week. Being able to take him out and tell him, you know what, you're not worthy of the WWE Championship. You would have never made it here if it wasn't for me. Getting inside of the head of Kofi Kingston, and this is definitely Kofi Kingston's toughest opponent yet.
It is. I think Randy Orton did what had to be done. He was able to break down Kofi to a point where Kofi not doubted himself, but at the same time he motivated himself because he knew he had to beat him. And we all know Randy, he's that type of wrestler that gets in your head, and that when he sees a weakness, he targets it. And what did he do? He targeted Kofi's family, Kofi's career. He just did everything in his power to get it into Kofi Kingston's head, and he sure did, and this match was a perfect example. I mean, he took the match to the pace he wanted to take it, a slow, a steady pace, really bringing the pain and punishment to Kofi.
He really wasn't giving Kofi a chance to capitalize. He dominated 90% of this match, you know, and whenever Kofi had an opportunity, Randy was there to stop him. Randy was there to say, no, this is not the way it's going to play out. But also keep in mind, Randy Orton is a veteran. He's been in plenty and plenty of championship matches. He's been in this business for years. So he knows exactly what he's doing. And as Armando said, he was able to get in the head of Kofi Kingston. And not only that, during this match, he was able to take it steady and keep everything at his own pace. While Kofi Kingston, on the other side, I think, yes, he adapts very quickly, but I also don't think he knew how dangerous Randy could be in the ring. And he went into this knowing, okay, I can potentially walk out not champion, but I have to pick and choose my spots. And I think that's what benefited Kofi in the end, where he was like, okay, I'm going to be worn out, but if I can pick a spot and I have the opportunity to go for something, he's going to go for it. And I think that's what helped him.
One thing that's very tough about Randy Orton is he's that type of superstar and wrestler that doesn't get frustrated throughout the match. If he doesn't get the 3 count, he continues to plug away until he gets it, and that's very crucial because we see it throughout some of the matches that a lot of superstars starting to get frustrated, and then they lose their head, and then they go for the disqualification, they go for other things, and Randy Orton doesn't do that. He stays focused and he dissects you piece by piece.
Exactly. And as we said, he's a veteran. He knows exactly what he's doing, and unfortunately he came out short because, as I said, Kofi Kingston was smart. He was able to pick and choose every single one of the spots that he wanted, and that's what ended up benefiting him in this match.
I personally thought that Randy Orton had the match won when he hit that RKO, but again, Kofi Kingston's ring awareness was able to put his foot on the bottom rope and therefore break the count, and after that he was able to capitalize with the Trouble in Paradise and was able to get the win.
Yes, so Kofi Kingston walks out of Clash of Champions, the WWE champion, and you can already expect there's going to be a second part to this. I definitely do not believe this match is over or this feud is over.
No, after this match, like you said, I have to agree with you on that one. There's that potential that we're probably going to see this match again, possibly a Hell in a Cell. Who knows, but this feud doesn't seem like it's going to be over.
Yes. Alright, moving on to Roman Reigns versus Rowan. This feud has been going on for the last 2 months. Mystery of who kept attacking Roman Reigns, and we finally found out it was Roman. That's what led into this match. Rowan dominated 99% of this match, to be honest. He was not giving Roman Reigns any chance whatsoever.
It was an absolute brawl throughout the ring. They pretty much took it to the WWE Universe as well. A lot of surprises in this match.
Yeah, so this was a no disqualification match, which means anything goes. And the moment Roman Reigns started to capitalize on Rowan, what happens? Luke Harper makes an unexpected return and decides to help out Rowan, and that's how Roman Reigns was pretty much taken down. I definitely don't think this is over. I think there's more to this story. There's no way you can just end it here.
Glad to see Luke Harper back, and I love the way this story is playing out. Just totally unexpected seeing Luke Harper showing up. I did not see that coming at all.
Yes, we all thought he was gone. He's back. Now it's going to be interesting to see how him and Rowan take over pretty much the tag team division. Maybe this is the team that can bring down the Revival. Who knows?
Or the Viking Raiders. They've been on a huge roll as well.
And what's next for Roman Reigns? Who knows? I guess we'll have to find out, but definitely, like we said, this is not over. Alright, moving on to Seth Rollins versus Braun Strowman for the Universal Championship, the main event. Very, very quickly, I just want to point out, none of these men were 100%. They were both at a disadvantage. They had a match earlier in the night.
Yeah, and I think Seth Rollins walked into this match thinking like, okay, I already slayed the beast, I can slay the monster easily, and sure enough, that wasn't the case. He really struggled, and I think he was very, very impressed by Braun Strowman, and his level of respect grew another step.
Yes, and you have to really give it to him, because when you put a guy the size of Seth Rollins against somebody the size of Braun Strowman, you really are like, well, he really has no chance, but he really gave Braun that fight. I mean, 4 stomps and 1 pedigree was what was able to bring down Braun Strowman. If it wasn't for that, I mean, I think we probably would have had a new Universal Champion.
And not only that, but the athleticism of Braun Strowman jumping off the top rope and landing on Seth Rollins. That was very, very impressive for a guy his size.
He was willing to go above and beyond to walk out of there as champion, and I really do think it's time for Braun Strowman to win a championship. I think it's his time now, and eventually I hope they decide to pull the trigger on him. Alright, and The match ends. Seth Rollins is able to obviously retain his Universal Championship. He's walking up the ramp. Time to celebrate. And what happens? Lights go out. The Fiend comes out. He attacks him. A horrendous attack. And, well, I guess this leads into Hell in a Cell.
Yeah, the Fiend is targeting Seth Rollins, so that's going to be his next opponent, most likely.
Alright, you guys, that's all we have for you guys on this episode of Wrestling with Siblings. Remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Become a part of the Siblings today, a part of the family. And for those of you that do not know what WWS stands for, Armando, what does WWS stand for?
Wrestling with Siblings. Thank you guys so much, and see you guys next time.